If you want to spend your whole day at one place trackside and see a lot of trains in one day, this is the place to go. Hello folks, welcome back to another video. Today's date is April 2nd, 2021, and we are in Berea, Ohio near the famed Berea Depot restaurant, which is next to the CSX Williard subdivision and the Norfolk Southern Chicago line. We decided to revisit this location because it was so successful last time we went, so yeah, let's get right into it because there's a lot we need to cover. The action started almost immediately as we pulled down Depot Street because NS 66R was already there, slowly making his way eastbound. 66R is a unit ethanol train that runs from Chicago, Illinois off the Canadian National for Rabel, Delaware, and can commonly be seen running with CN power. However, when it's on the Chicago line, an NS locomotive has to lead to comply with the rules that all locomotives that are leading trains on the NS Chicago line have to be cab signal equipped. Also of note, one of the two trailing CN ET44 ACs is a 100th anniversary unit as well. After our ethanol train cleared, the next train we will see is a CSX westbound mixed freight train on the Williard subdivision, which I have reason to believe is Q166, but I'm not 100% sure on that one though. As our presumed Q363 was passing through, a Norfolk Southern intermodal train made its way eastward on the Chicago line, but unfortunately I missed the engines on the head end of the train, so much for that.
Oh, there's a DPU on the intermodal train too.
I guess the intermodal train wasn't a total loss after all, because after Q363's DPU passed, it revealed that the NS train was also equipped with a DPU as well. After the NS intermodal train cleared, CSX also had an eastbound intermodal train descend as well, but this time on the Williard subdivision. And he wasn't wasting any time doing every bit of track speed on this line. And this also marks the return of CSX 5416, the Spirit of Columbus. As 5416's intermodal train was passing, a westbound CSX autorec train snuck its way through on the Williard subdivision. You can kind of see the locomotives in between the containers, but not really. Right as the autorec train passes, let me see if I can zoom in here for you guys. There is some headlights approaching on the Chicago line. It never fails. It truly doesn't fail. After the autorec train cleared, we saw headlights approaching on the Chicago line from a Norfolk Southern westbound intermodal train. Now, if you come at the right time, basically sometime early in the morning, Berea is the most busiest at that time. You can get a lot of trains in a short period of time. As for us, we saw about 8 trains within the first hour, but there was still more to come because we had the whole day to spend here. As you can see here, we can see the locomotives of an approaching eastbound autorec train on the Chicago line, but he decided to wait there because dispatch wanted the higher priority intermodal train to pass him first. After the NS intermodal train disappeared around the corner, CSX Q166, destined for Buffalo, New York, was next in line on the CSX Williard subdivision, as evident by the CP locomotive pulling the train. Also in this scene, you can also see the locomotives from the NS autorec train waiting in the background. You should probably remember the NS Autorec train that we saw waiting on the Chicago line in the last two scenes, because here he is now, departing from where he stood after getting permission from dispatch. Of note on this Autorec train was the rebuilt EMD SD60E that was leading the train, which is kind of nice seeing an SD60E leading a real train this time. After a nearly an hour and a half dead period went through, and after eating lunch at a local Arby's, we soon returned to the depot. This NS intermodal train that we saw shortly after we returned broke the dead period. After that eastbound intermodal train cleared, eastbound intermodal train 20E was next in line on the Chicago line heading for Croxton, New Jersey. There's only one reason, and one reason alone, why I know this was 20E, because of the heritage unit that happened to be trailing third on this train, which was NS 8103, sporting the dark blue Norfolk and Western paint scheme. Surprise, surprise, here comes another one. After 20E cleared, we had to jump out of the car yet again because another train was making its way through on the Chicago line very quickly, which was a Norfolk Southern eastbound mixed freight train. NS was truly stealing the show around this time because, as you see here, they had another train to send, which was a Norfolk Southern westbound Autorack train as it slowly makes its way around the corner, passing the old Berea East Tower. Also, I apologize for the camera moving around so much during the beginning of this shot. It's kind of hard to do handheld videography when it's very windy, so I apologize for that. Traffic on both the NS Chicago line and the CSX Williard subdivision were starting to pick up again when this eastbound intermodal train made its way through on the Chicago line. Note the SD70 ACU rebuild trailing second on this train.
Oh, looks like we got a CSX train coming too.
You can't get any better proof that another train is coming than what you're seeing right now. As you hear in the background, as the NS intermodal train was passing through, a CSX westbound ethanol train made its way through on the Williard subdivision, led by two AC 4400 CWs still sporting yellow nose 2 paint. After the ethanol train disappeared around the corner, westbound mixed freight train Q635 was next in line. Q635 is the daily mixed freight train that travels on the Columbus subdivision when it continues its last miles towards Columbus after departing Selkirk, New York. In addition to the 4 locomotives on the head end of Q635, Q635 was also equipped with a mid-train DPU as well. After Q635 flew his way west, an intermodal train flew its way east. And I gotta say, I can't even count how many friendly crews we've seen on this day. The CSX Williard subdivision had another eastbound train descend our direction, which happened to be an autorec train. And unlike the intermodal train we saw previously, the crew on this autorec train didn't bat an eye to us. We've heard from some local rail fans that were also with us at this time that there was a train traveling on the Chicago line that had 5 locomotives on the head end. Well, folks, this is the train that they were talking about, which happened to be an eastbound mixed freight train that's traveling along this line with all 5 units on the train as advertised. This train had been toying around with us for the past hour because we saw its headlight poke through the trees alongside an eastbound intermodal train on the same line, and we also saw a PTI transportation van traveling towards the train, giving it a new crew. And once the new crew was on board, and after the CSX eastbound train made its way through, it was his turn to head eastward. After the eastbound freight train cleared, a westbound freight train came but stopped just short of the overpass in the background, while a higher priority intermodal train snuck its way through in between the other two trains. As the westbound stack train on NS was passing through, CSX had another trick up their sleeves by sending an eastbound mixed freight train on the Williard subdivision. After the surprise CSX intermodal train cleared, we then left, which now concludes yet another video. As you saw, from the time we got there until the time we left, between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., it was jam-packed. We saw a lot of trains. The first hour we saw 8, we saw 2 special units, and a bunch of other stuff. Anyways, hit the like button down below, leave a comment and tell me what you think of it, subscribe to my channel, and tap the bell button to be notified when I get a new video out. This is All Ohio Rail Fan, signing out.